Hello, Miranda, by the way.
Okay. Hi, Brandon. Hey, do y'all want to see a $2,000 cow?
A $2,000 cow.
Yeah.
I don't believe this, but fine.
I
Yeah, I want to see a $2,000 cow.
Okay. So this is a $2,000 cow.
I'm calling bullshit.
No. So Moon had that surgery a couple weeks ago to remove the fatty tumor from his clavicle.
Right.
Um, the copay on the surgery is $2,000, but they did give him this cow when he was in
well,
recovery.
two
So this is
thousand
a $2,000
dollars, two
$2,000
thousand
cow.
dollars, $2,000 for a cow is a lot of moolah.
I'm not listening to you, Julie. I'm not Julie, I am not listening to you. I am not. I am not.
What did
I
she
will say
say?
this. I will say this though. If I
So
get any
pretty.
comments, about who's the dude in the middle of the live or whatever, I'm gonna be pissed. So I'm gonna be pissed.
The only dude here is that one.
Yeah, that dude.
That
Yes, that dude.
wherever I am,
Relative to how I'm seeing this, Brandon's
right?
over here.
Um, all right, so I wrote extensive notes for today's session. Um,
Expensive notes. Whew.
yeah,
Really gonna
um,
get into it.
yeah, we're really gonna talk through it.
I'm gonna
Mm.
have to
Um,
think and stuff.
oh no, so like the big thing for today was um, the friendship dynamic because we sort of talked about this. I think the last time we talked about it.
Hmm.
Oh, right.
Um,
Familial relations.
but yeah, but now I wanted to talk about like friendship, like how much of your friend group did you lose? Because I have two really bad stories about it, and it's painful. And I will tell you, the two of the bad stories. One of the bad stories is a church
Hi,
story.
my watch is at
Hang on,
1 p.m.
I need to mute.
Yeah, the one of the two stories is a church story because it involves a church person, which is why it's painful to talk about.
Well, yeah, my friend group was I met them through church. So it was basically a church group, a group of fellow churchgoers where I was attending.
Right. Now, I mean, did you get like confronted by these people?
Yeah, I think I mentioned, oh, is Brandon doing any food stuff? Well, not today, but I I will later in the week.
Yeah, come on, Brandon, we're hungry.
Yeah, well,
um,
I didn't bring it with me. But yeah, I think I mentioned once in one of these lives before is basically a gay intervention kind of thing,
right.
and they're no more. Those those friends, they showed what they portrayed as concern, and then of course after that little meeting, didn't hear from him again. So it didn't seem like they were real concerned about it. They didn't follow up or anything to see how I was doing or anything like that. So,
Yeah, they
uh,
don't care about how we're doing. They just care about winning our soul.
Well, that was the problem that I had. Like, I had the one friend who was like, he was a weird evangelical, and he was like the weird Vineyard Church evangelical.
Oh, Vineyard.
Vineyard?
That's good stuff. I love
Yeah.
that band.
John Wimber, Vineyard Church. That's John Wimber's Signs and Wonders movement. So
Oh, I don't
Vineyard
know that one.
churches, yeah, they take. Well, here's the funny thing about the Vineyard. So I'm gonna educate you. Miranda might know about this. So in the early days of the Vineyard Church with John Wimber, he had a church deacon named Lonnie Frisbee. I googled this shit. Yeah, Lonnie Frisbee was the hippie Jesus from the 70s. And I have a connection to him. When I worked at IBM, Lonnie's brother was one of my co-engineers. So I was able to confirm this, by the way. But basically, Lonnie Frisbee, and here was the thing about Lonnie. Lonnie baptized hundreds of thousands of people in the name of Christ, in the name of the church. But
Yeah.
he was super gay. And not by even a little bit gay, super gay, like this much gay. And so it came down to John Wimber and Schuler, who is the Crystal Cathedral guy, talking one day, and Schuler told John Wimber, "You know Lonnie's gay," and John Wimber had no idea what the fuck he was talking about, and they confronted Lonnie about it and excommunicated him from the church, despite the fact that there was a large grove of people who had sort of gravitated to the church because of Lonnie's membership. Well, my college friend Chris was a member of that church. So when I came out as a queer person and then ultimately as a trans person, he first went no contact. Then he started contacting me and asking if he could pray for me. And then, my hard part with Chris was that I had promised one of his parents when they were leaving, going on their long walk. Basically, like I promised his parent, I'm like, I'll watch out for him. I'll make sure that he's okay, because he was an epilepsy sufferer, and there's a whole slew of stories behind that. So,
Mhm.
so I always sort of just kept tabs on him, where he was, what he was doing. Yes, this is a very eloquent way of saying that I doxed him to make sure that he was okay, which is what I did. I mean, I kept up with where he was working and where he was living and shit. And if it looked like he was in trouble, I'd reach out to him and try to engage or whatever. But the last time that I saw him, which was November of last year, drove up to where he was living, and I gave him his birthday present, because I gave him a birthday present every year. That was the one time that I would see him. And I walked up, and I had this hairpiece on, and I was like, "Hey, I know it's been a while, but happy birthday." And he looked at me and he was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, right, okay, maybe it's been a time." And here was the thing about him: because he was an epileptic, when he had a seizure, it would cause him to lose his midterm memory. So anything that happened like 4 months before or a year before would be gone. So I knew that's what it was. And so I had to dead name myself. I said, "Oh, right,
Mhm.
okay. Bill." And he was like, "Yeah, why don't you come in?" And, Aubrey and I walked in and sat down, and, I gave him a bottle of scotch. That's my token gift to him every year, is a bottle of Macallan's and the 12. And he took it. And then he was like, I'd really like to pray for you because you're diseased.
Mm.
And I looked at him and I said, diseased how exactly? And he said, um, well, you're not wearing jeans and a t-shirt and tennis shoes. You're wearing a dress. You shouldn't be wearing a dress. And, well, yes, I should be. Well, no, you shouldn't. And I want to pray for you. And then I want you to leave or whatever. And I was like, okay, okay. But that was a person who, in my friend group, yeah, I hear you. I have a friend for that, right? I have a friend for that, right?
I'm not surprised that you have a friend for that.
I have a friend for that. Wholesale. I have a wholesale friend for that.
Nice.
So this was a person that I was friends with for 20 years, 25 years. And then for that to happen, it was very, yeah, Danny's, he took the liquor.
Of course he did.
And then that was it. And so, yeah, gosh, that was so painful. So that's why I sort of and there's a reason I asked about the friend group thing, because the next topic that I have to talk about is a little bit more painful.
Well, I guess it's my turn to talk about friend group things.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I was active in charismatic evangelical circles for a long time. Um, so when I came out, I had a group of friends who, um, I've been friends with them since our teen years, um, either through my hometown youth group or I met them in college because I went to Christian university. Um, so I'm going to read from my latest post on my blog about how one of those friends reacted to me coming out. Um, my first threat was actually, oh, sorry. The whole post is about Christians threatening me because I'm trans.
Right.
Um, my first threat was actually from an old friend, someone I had known for 20 plus years, someone with whom I had prayed and broken bread many times. A couple days after I came out on Facebook, he messaged me to tell me I was disgusting. He accused me of being a rapist and a pedophile and told me he was looking forward to the day that Trump puts me in a camp and God sends me to hell.
How very Christian of him.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, his wife is a stay-at-home mom who is even more terminally online than I am. And she's one of those people who really push like the litter boxes in school lies and things like that. It's like, okay, y'all have this image of me that's built from propaganda, and you've decided to disregard 20 plus years of knowing me as a person.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about, well, anybody that uh, treats you differently before or after you came out. It's like, you've known me for all these years. I'm the same person. you know? I mean, in my case at least. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, I'm
Oh no, I'm as I'll say this: as a trans woman, I am slightly different of the person that I was,
Right.
but I want to be clear that a lot of the person that I was because of the incorrect hormonal balances that I was in. When I went on estrogen, I calmed way the fuck down.
Yeah.
But I was still the same snarky, sarcastic
Yeah.
asshole that
Yeah.
I'd always been. So
Yeah. I tell
from that
people that,
perspective,
yeah, I generally tell people I'm the same soul that you've always
Right.
known.
Yeah.
right.
That's kind of what I mean, I didn't want to speak for you, but at least in my case, I do act differently now than I did before I came out, because I didn't act as gay as I was back
Yeah,
when
we
I
were all
was.
masking. We
I'm
were
Right,
trying to
sorry,
right.
Brandon.
fit in
I'm going to tell
with
you
their social expectations.
how could you not I don't want to know what it looks like if you acted not gay.
I noticed the other night I went out with my parents and a friend of mine, and I don't know if it was kind of during dinner, but mainly afterwards, looking at it, and I kind of reverted back to kind of how I don't know, I just kind of I don't know what the word is, subdued. I was more subdued, or I was like I was just not exactly myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I I don't know. I can't explain how I have felt about that, really, but I was just like, how sad to be to have to feel the need to do that, and to not be able to just be relaxed and be myself, really. you know we had a very good looking waiter. Of course, the one time that I have a really good looking waiter that I find attractive, I can't flirt with him because I'm right there with my parents. But it's like I didn't converse as much. I don't know. It just felt weird, and I didn't like it.
I've tried to imagine, Brandon, how you would behave not gay.
I mean, basically, I for the most part, I just keep my mouth shut. Yeah.
Oh, I was
um,
so stoically male.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, sure. I
More
can go.
introverted. I mean, I feel like I'm an introvert basically anyway. I have no problem socializing and stuff, but I'm not I'm not an extrovert. I'm not a not a social butterfly.
Right.
But yeah, I was always much more introverted. I felt like when I made friends, um, toward the end of my high school years and into college, I was I kind of opened up a little more, but it was kind of a gradual thing, and so I don't think my friends never really paid that much attention, because I was just that's just who he is, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I still wasn't as um I don't know what the word is. I mean, I don't want to just use the term gay, but acting, because I don't think I wouldn't say I'm flamboyant, because I've seen gay guys that are flamboyant.
I No, I know guys who are way more flamboyant than you
Right.
are.
Right.
And I want to be clear, they're flamboyant enough to almost be trans but are not.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, I I still kept things under control, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
but anyway, um I don't know where I was going with all that. I can't remember where I started and why I've ended up here. But anyway, I was like, oh, but the dinner, yeah, just noticing how the drastic difference going back to my childhood almost. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
there you go.
that segues into the next item on the trauma list is, and I feel a little uneasy bringing this up. Miranda will have an opinion about it, but I definitely have an opinion about it, and I don't know if relationship violence.
Mm,
Have you ever experienced relationship violence? Um, from my perspective, the answer is yes. I had, and not the good kind. Uh, from a queer perspective, um, so I'll just lead into that. So my first queer non-trans relationship was with a guy named John, and um, it was a very problematic relationship because it turns out I don't think John was ever really gay. I think he, like at best, he was bi. But um, the first time that John and I were together, I bled for 2 days, and as an initiative queer person, um, I sort of I thought that's just how gay relationships worked, and
mm.
that's how it was. You know, if you were
Like
the
like
bottom,
like I'll get used to this kind of thing.
yeah, well, yeah, like I had to talk myself into, like, okay, that means when you go in the bedroom, you lay down or you bend over, and there's a penetrative event, and you bite the pillow, and you just have to suffer through it. And so, I I am shameful to admit this, but I've had two colorectal two colorectal surgeries, and that was the first one because I experienced a an inch and a half tear in two spaces in that space. But um, that physical interaction, it wasn't just that. There was slapping and hitting and a whole bunch of other stuff attached to it. And I thought that's how a gay relationship worked, and I went that way for months. Um, and I had people around me saying that's not how it's supposed to go. And at Danny's, yeah, I realize that in hindsight. I really do. In hindsight, I realize that that was a graping event. Um, I mean, it just there's other people I've talked to that are like, well, that's the first time. I mean, yeah, you sort of lube yourself up and you breathe right, and you hope the other person is gentle. And in my case, it was not.
Yeah.
And
Well, you had been so conditioned for abuse by Zoe.
Right. Yeah.
That it was easy for a loving relationship to be abusive.
Yeah. As an individual who has an extensive um, people pleaser mentality, I don't. I just thought that, oh, okay, this is just how it is, and this is how it happens. Um, I will say, Brandon, I hope you did not have the same experience.
Um, I I did not. Um, I've been in a relationship that was not physically violent. I mean, we argued, and he was very controlling and jealous and that kind of thing. It was, but I was. I guess I'm fortunate. I didn't. He wasn't physically violent toward me.
Well, or had you ever been in a dating experience where that it could have gone that way, or if you hadn't have walked away from it, it would have gone that way? That's an even better question.
Um, yeah, I can think of one or two guys that if they had been just a little more aggressive or whatever, I wouldn't have been able to fight back or remove myself from the situation. But I didn't let it get that far.
Right. Like, if you had an aggressive guy, I mean, I went to Mary's one night, and I think one of the nights that I went over there, especially here in Atlanta, queer establishments in Atlanta sort of theme their activity nights. So if you go over to the Heretic, which is off of Cheshire Bridge in Atlanta, and you go over on a Tuesday night, that the bear crowd is over there, and
Hmm.
all of those guys are aggressive. Those are the guys that want to take you back in the bathroom and get a blowjob, and expect you not to bitch about it or complain about it. Um, BJ Roosters, which is weirdly enough is right next door to the Heretic on Cheshire Bridge. If you go over on a Thursday night, that's the Leather Daddy crowd. Those are the guys that are aggressive and expect to be aggressive and treat the people who kowtow to them, in that way. Um, and if you're not prepared to deal with that, then you'll find yourself in that situation. You'll find yourself in a situation where somebody will mistreat you. Whether
If
you want to or not.
if you grow up in a conservative Christian household, they um, a lot of them believe that, like in a marriage, they believe that there is no such thing as rape
Right.
because
Yeah.
the woman,
The woman owes her husband the duty.
yeah, she is to submit to her husband, and so if whatever he wants, that's just the way it is, and you deal with that.
Well, the thing about that is, and that's the thing that leads into the next topic on the list, which is internalized shame spiraling. I think probably all three of us have been there. Um, and the substance dependency that can come with that. From my perspective, it was I drank a shit ton. I mean, I was going through a bottle of Macallan's a week or more. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd go home. I'd go home at night and pour myself Four Fingers, and I knew there'd be two more glasses of Four Fingers of scotch behind it
Yeah.
because I couldn't manage it. You know the you know your own mind becomes your own torture device and your internalized self hatred. Um, recently I had a conversation with my child's mother where I had to explain to her, I'm like, look, when we were together, me saying yes, we're going to do this every time was my internalized people pleasing mechanism that tried to make the situation positive, even if there was no logistical way I could accomplish it. And then when I didn't, I'd spiral into shame.
Yeah.
My queer and trans relationships were exactly the same way. Um, it was you know, I want you to be this. Okay, I'll do that. Even if I couldn't, um, even if I was incapable, I'd still believe I could do it. And so, you know, I mean, did you have either of you have internal shame cycles? I know I did.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Mine included a lot of drinking as well. Um, a lot of like isolating myself from other
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
So if somebody tried to tell me that what I was doing wasn't healthy or wasn't right, I believed my emotionally abusive partners rather than um, really engaging with that.
Identity disassociation, they call that. Um, you pull back and you watch life happen in a way where you don't have to interact with it yourself, and that causes you to not have to experience it in a way that forces you to deal with it.
Yeah, I had a partner who found out I was bi because she found some porn DVDs that I had, and she forced me to break each DVD in half by hand in front of her to prove my devotion to her.
Oh gosh. Um, oh gosh. Uh, Now I have to run upstairs and edit tonight's story. Um, it was tonight's story is about Marcus. So Marcus in the bar, he's the like his wife Sarah doesn't understand why he's bisexual or why he goes to a gay bar every night to seek validation. And the way I wrote it was she found his stash of nude men magazines. She made him burn them
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
And so he drags Sarah to the bar to get Miguel and Grubby and Bubba to explain to her why you don't do that. And or, especially when you're a bisexual person, why you shouldn't feel insecure about your partner looking at naked men.
Yeah.
And so, okay, now live's going to be over. I have to go upstairs and rewrite that. Or maybe not. But that I hate to give away the element of the story, but that's I cringe. Okay, so you had a lot of this dissociative episodes when you were married. Why, or in what capacity?
I didn't have the substance abuse. Mine was just in the form of depression, like you were saying, Miranda, the isolation. I feel like I was kind of addicted to porn for a while. It's like when I couldn't express myself, felt like I couldn't, outwardly. I just, you know, looked at it online.
Well,
went to the dating sites and everything, and hooked up with a few guys.
so that leads me to ask an interesting question. And if I ask this question and it's too much, just tell me to shut up. But based on that paradigm, and then having to deal with a partner who did abuse substances, how did you
Hmm.
reconcile? How did you reconcile that?
I was able to at least understand the psychological aspect of it, but not the physical. I didn't. I drank sometimes just socially, but I didn't have any kind of um, what's the word,
Proclivity.
predisposition for alcoholism, or and I had never tried any drugs for um, for most of my, well, through high school and college. I was a I was very uh, sheltered, and like I was offered when I was in college. I was offered a couple times, but I was afraid. I was like, oh, drugs bad. But um, yeah, I after after seeing him and his struggles, and of course death, I I didn't want to have anything to do with any drugs or anything. And especially not. I mean, since then I've I've tried, uh, well, not tried, but I regularly consume edibles. But
Look,
that's very mild.
I'll be honest with you. In my most recent job back in December of last year, I mean, I would never have done this earlier in my life, but we were standing outside the restaurant, and it was the network security group, which that was the group of guys I was trying to move departments into with, and so we were all standing out there, and one of the guys in that group was like, "Hey, Wendy, you want to make this fun?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" He's like, "Take this," and I went, "Oh, okay." And then I asked him, I'm like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Oh, it was a hit of Molly." And I went, "Oh, okay. This is gonna be a fun night."
It's good to know what you're taking before you actually take
Right.
it.
Yeah,
So
it's the question isn't what was that? The question should be what is this in
well,
my hand before it goes.
here was the here was the funny part was I splashed a bunch of red wine over the top of it. And so when I got home, that's when it got weird because then like I was sitting in the bathroom and Kira could hear me going, Kira, the bathroom is colorful and I'm not sure why. And she was like, oh shit, Wendy, what the hell? And so she was like, well, what did you take? And I was like, oh, he told me it was Molly. And she was like, oh, okay. It's going to be that night. Oh, it's going to be that night. Um, so, but I mean, when you talk, that's the thing. Like when you use substances to cope with what you're going through. I mean, I won't lie. Last night, I did not fall asleep until 4 o'clock. I just couldn't go to sleep. My anxiety was so high, and it was through the fucking roof, and I was dealing. I had like by 2 o'clock, I had written all of the shit that I published that I'm going to publish today, and I still couldn't go to sleep. And like my normal mode of so let me ask that question. I'll answer it first, but let me ask that question to the both of you. Like when you can't sleep, what do you do? So here's what I was doing, and you'll laugh at me when I say this, but because I trauma, I was awake because of trauma. I was thinking about people are saying this and doing this, and I'm just sitting here and I'm not saying anything, and people are gonna say bad. So my brain went down a rabbit hole. I was up till 4 o'clock, and so you laugh about this. So the first thing I do is I always have my noise canceling headphones on, and so I grab my phone, connect my headphones, and I turn on the Ken Young sitcom Dr. Ken, which only went for 2 seasons, and I turned that on, and I've like done that enough times, like I know all the dialogue in the first 9 episodes of the show, and so I think if my brain hears that, it will cause my brain to shut down. That didn't happen, and so then the next thing I go to is Everybody Loves Raymond from season 4 of that show. And I do the same thing. And then if that doesn't work, and this one's going to be really bad because it's kind of homophobic and it's kind of transphobic and it's kind of xenophobic, but my then go to is the old 70s 80s MASH TV show.
Mm.
Oh, I love MASH.
Yeah, specifically by the way,
It's
the episode that has Leslie Nielsen in it.
Oh,
okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think remember him being on there.
Oh, yeah. He. There was an episode with him in it, and the problem with it is they. I won't. I'm only going to say this as an exemplification. I would never use this word, but they use the Korean slur GOOK to describe a Korean person,
Hmm.
and it's like watching Blazing Saddles, and they drop the N word like 20 times in that movie, which is why that movie will never be like rebroadcast in the theater because of the use of that word. But yeah, so MASH was the same way, and that's the thing, like in that episode, in the Leslie Nielsen episode, they accuse uh, Frank Burns of being a cross-dresser, and Nielsen looks at Hawkeye and Trapper and says, "You mean he's a?" And he doesn't get the word out, but you know what he would
Yeah.
have said, and so that makes that episode transphobic. But for whatever reason, my brain puts it the fuck out, and I go to sleep. Well, that didn't happen. So when 3:30 rolled around and none of the shit was working, right? Then I went to the clonazepam and I took a normal clonazepam dose. So by 4 o'clock, I was dead to the world. So Brandon, what happens when you can't sleep at night?
Like
Or does that
now,
happen? Yeah.
I don't have problems now.
But you did before.
When I mean, when I've went through depression, yeah, I guess I don't know. I can't say what I did. I just lost sleep basically and had to try to make up for it, nap the next day or something like that. But I didn't really have a solution.
So are you one of those people that, like, when you go and lay down and your head hits the pillow, you can go immediately to sleep? Or do
It
you have to
doesn't
like or do you have to wind it down?
it doesn't take too long usually. Um,
Hi, Canyon baby.
yeah,
It's not a comfy way to lay.
That's adorable.
um, yeah, I don't really think about it. I kind of have a routine, I guess. And that's one of the things it's recommended for people who can't sleep, that they get into a certain routine. When you do this and this and this, that means you're telling your body that it's time to go to sleep, and eventually that's supposed to trigger, your sleep, and you turn off your devices and all that kind of thing. Now, I don't always I do look at my phone and stuff up until I go to bed, but I do have the blue light blocking thing, which I don't know if it really, I mean, I've heard different things about that. It's like that. I don't know if that's a real thing, or if, because I've
Oh
heard
no,
some,
the
I,
yeah,
I've
the
heard some doctors say no, that isn't really a thing. And so I'm like, well, I still turn it on, that I comfort shield thing at night. But anyway, no, I don't have much of a problem. I think partly it's because I'm not going to a job that I loathe anymore. You know, I, I think I think that made a big difference when I was no longer, because you're just thinking, "Oh, I'm going to go to bed. When I wake up, I'm going to have to get up and go to this place that I hate, around these people that I can't stand, and just go through it all tomorrow." And I think that was probably, um, part of why I wouldn't have been able to sleep much. But now,
Yeah, it's like if I don't go to sleep, I don't have to face the next day.
right, right. As soon as I go to sleep, because time is gone when you're asleep because you're unconscious. As soon as you go to
Hmm.
sleep, you're awake again, basically. And as soon as I go to sleep, I'm gonna have to get up and do something that I don't want to do. So yeah, I think,
can you say what the job was?
the last job that I had before I started working at home was, I worked at a pet and livestock center. I did a lot of their, online sales, Amazon, and I did a little bit of everything actually. Worked behind the counter and helped it, because it was a small business. So helped when, product came in and everything, making sure everything was there and blah blah blah. But I mean, the job wasn't that bad. I learned a lot about animals and pet care and stuff like that. But, like, especially one of my coworkers, he was just negative all the time. I mean, always complaining about stuff, and just, oh my gosh, I just couldn't stand being around him. And my boss, she was very She was a micromanager, you know, and she didn't trust anybody to do anything, and it was just wasn't a fun, pleasant working environment, you know.
So you basically worked with two people that were Ron Swanson.
Well, the thing about Ron is he's funny. He's sarcastic, but
At least there's that redemptive quality.
right.
And what about you, Miranda?
Um, yeah,
I
so
I
my
know you don't because you intake as much weed as I do.
Whenever I try to log in, it says it's not connected to the Wi-Fi.
oh, kid having computer problems. Sorry. Hang on a second.
Oh, we're waiting with bated breath, by the way.
Now, I guess I haven't really thought about that much lately about the difference between my sleep patterns, because yeah, I'm pretty fortunate now, I guess, that because I don't have to get up at a certain time or anything, because I work on my own schedule, and um, but I do end up getting up early most days, and I start working on I go on Substack and check all my notifications like and stuff, and start working on whatever draft I am or whatnot. But and I enjoy it. I'm not getting up and dreading starting the day.
Right.
So I think that's a uh, very big factor.
I working at my previous company, it was a real problem. And part of it was, excuse me, one, I was dealing in a situation where I had a coworker who was an evangelical and could not stand the fact that I was trans.
Mm.
But then on top of that, too, I was working on something that I knew was going to affect people in a negative way, and I had an ideological problem with it because the company that I was working for is a company that makes cameras that take pictures of license plates and allow municipals, so city and county governments, to collect that data for tracking criminal activity. And the product that I was working on was a product that the company was making to connect dark web collected PII data,
Mm.
personal
Yeah.
information data, and connect it to car ownership. And so I knew what we were making, I knew what we were building, and so I'd go home at night and have nightmares. And you know, I mean, I went through that for 5 months. Fortunately, unfortunately for me, they beat me to the punch and they pushed me out before I could. But I was actively trying to find another job while all that was going on, and so that led to
Ugh,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
part two.
and then well,
Looking
and then
for
too, like a month after they, a month after they let me go, I got the notification that they'd signed a multi-million-dollar contract with INS, which confirmed my worst fears. I was like, oh, well, shit. Okay, here we go. And I felt horrible about all the code I wrote to support it. Okay, Miranda.
Okay, I'm back, maybe.
Okay.
Um, So, yeah, I have always had a lot. It's
It's
somewhat
you froze for a
Oh,
minute.
better.
Yeah, you froze for a minute. Try again.
Oh, oh, I'm unstable. It says.
Yes,
Like he had to reset the Wi-Fi.
I'm shocked.
Okay,
Okay,
I think we're good now.
okay, we're good now.
Before
no, we're
I
not.
came out,
Oh,
my
there we go. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
oh my gosh. Okay,
Sorry.
sorry. Between 5G and Wi-Fi because I was resetting the router.
Okay. This is why we're
So
switching to YouTube in like a month. I'm just gonna warn you.
yeah. Um, yeah, so my insomnia problems were worse before I came out because of all of that emotional tension.
Yeah, build up.
But yeah, um, but even now, um, I still have a lot of bad dreams. And so I'll get into a headspace where I am dreading going to sleep because what if I have one of those dreams?
Right.
Mhm.
And so, then I'll be up at 1 or 2 a.m. ruminating about all of the things going on, um, from my personal stuff all the way to like solving Mideast peace, um, as if anyone has an intention to do that. But um, and so it's like it's hard to let my body do the things it needs to do to go to sleep whenever I'm afraid of what sleep will be like. You have wrapped up the dog. Oh my gosh. Missy, do you want to say hi? um,
Puppers.
so, I have edibles. I drink all of the relaxing teas. Um, and it's just like sometimes one thing helps, sometimes another thing helps, and sometimes I just don't sleep.
Yeah, I mean it's a challenge. Have you
So,
tried clonazepam? Have you tried a benzo?
uh, I have, but it's been a while, like years, a while. So,
Yeah, I benzos work if you get prescribed a benzo and you take them right. The and benzodiazepam has a huge half life,
hmm
so it takes like 18 hours for it to get out of your system.
Sorry. Rachel. Rachel says I like tonsils on the back porch when I'm riding and watching people and imagine stories about them. She meant to say to sit, not tonsils. It just I like tonsils on the back porch.
Wow, tonsils. I can't remember the last time I got my tonsils tickled. 2 weeks ago at Mary's. No, I'm just kidding.
on bear night.
No, actually, no. I'm going to be open about that. My sexual escapades, I don't have an issue talking about. The bear crowd, no, never did it for me. So, uh, early queer life, it was the hunk, it was the jock hunk crowd,
Yeah.
jocks and hunks. Oh, um, and so Brandon's just smiling.
Jocks and hugs.
Jocks and hugs.
He's like, send one my way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I've been talking to a couple. Well, never mind. I don't need to go into all that.
Wait, whoa! Hold on. I got a cup of tea. I want to hear.
Well, I think I told you I've been talking to a couple of them, and you were telling me the rules that
Right.
that
I saw you cross post the rules of dating. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
so have you followed the rules of dating? Have you met any other guys you're talking to yet?
All right. So there are these two guys that I've been chatting back and forth on this dating app, and they both, around the same time, actually said, "Hey, can we exchange numbers?" And so this one guy, I said, "Well, how about we just meet in person?" And
Wow. Okay.
and he hasn't responded since.
Mhm.
Oh
So
gosh.
to me, that's a red flag. Like, he's probably not who he says he is, or whatever. And this other guy said the same thing. He's like, "I'm not on here a lot. Can we just exchange numbers?" And I said, "Well,
Keep talking.
how about we just meet in person? Are you a coffee drinker?" And he says, "No, I'm not." And how about we get to know each other before we meet in person? And I'm like, but that's how you get to know each other. You meet.
Yeah,
That
you
doesn't
have
make
coffee.
sense.
It's low key.
Yeah, that didn't
Yeah,
make sense to me. I'm like, why would you refuse to meet in person, but you want to exchange numbers instead? And again, that was kind of a red flag for me. It's like, this doesn't make sense. That, like, you don't want to meet in a public place for coffee, but you'll exchange numbers and keep this back and forth going on for who knows how long. I'm not going to go through all that. Like, if you're not willing to, I mean, I understand if somebody's kind of hesitant to meet in person, but let's think about, like, that's how we used to do it. We
yeah.
people used to meet in person, and then they would exchange numbers, and you know, but this is like backward. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It just doesn't make sense to me, and I
Yeah.
just
Now people want to collect a bunch of spicy photographs before they meet somebody.
right, and it could lead to that too, because that hasn't happened yet. It's just been regular
Yeah,
conversation and chit chat back and forth and stuff. But um, I don't know. It's just sometimes that whole scene is just so complicated when it doesn't
yeah.
need to be. It's kind of frustrating. But I did see that. So me and a friend of mine have been talking about going to a Renaissance fair. I've never been to one. And have you ever been?
I haven't.
I mean, I'm not really into that kind of thing, but I'm not opposed to going. I think it might be fun to just try it out and see what it's like, whatnot.
Yeah,
So
like I've
we're,
been to medieval times a few times and like seen their whole show,
oh
but
yeah,
I've never been to Ren Fair, which
yeah,
I know is a different kind of time travel experience.
yeah. So a friend of mine, um, she and I were thinking about going, and then I saw on the Meetup app that a singles group is that's one of their events that they're going to go to meet at the Renaissance Fair. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, this might be a good opportunity since I was kind of thinking about going anyway. So I'm thinking about signing up
You
for
should,
that. So
you should definitely go to the Renaissance Fair.
Well, I'm planning on it.
Yay.
Yeah, and I want to dress up a little. I'm not going to go like all out, but I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna dress up a little bit.
Well, you better take a picture and share it.
Oh, I will. I will.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Cool. Preferably next to a really big guy with, you know, an axe and.
Oh gosh, and a big turkey leg.
No, I
Did you hear what I was talking about with the dating and the number and everything?
yeah, look, that's bullshit. Because
Yeah,
other guys don't follow the fucking rules.
yeah,
That whole like that bullshit about I want to get to know you before I meet you for coffee.
yeah. Like that's why we're meeting for coffee.
We're meeting for coffee so that I can get to know you.
I
And so
know.
I hate that because that's the guy who like the guy that says I want to get to know you first before I go out with you. That's the guy that wants to date you at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well we know each other and we're kind of good and whatever. So let's go out on a date. Okay, where do you want to go? Well, I can meet at your house.
I think it's more like it's not. There's something not genuine about like he's either using somebody else's pictures or he's not who he says he is. I don't know if he would ever want to meet. Like it's going to be like a back and forth, and he's maybe
Yeah.
going to ask for something or whatever. I don't know what the plan would be, but I'm not going to go that far, so I'll never find out what the plan's going to be.
Yeah. Sock puppet account or DL situation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I think I've talked about this, but I have a friend who, like, she is incapable of grasping the concept of a dating life. And the reason for that is because, like, she goes out with a guy and then he drops the L word, like, on the first date.
Oh.
and and then she's hooked, and so like she calls me up every couple of months. Hey, I met a new guy. Okay, all right. Have you been out with him? Yeah, I've been out with him like twice. And I'm like, okay, all
And we're
right.
in
So
love and
where?
gonna get married.
Well, where are you? Well, he's the one, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go. And so then I have to ask. I'm like, okay, well, have you been to his house yet? No, I haven't been to his house yet because he works at night. And I'm like, okay, so he's a night worker. Well, where have you dated? Well, he's been over to my house twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he can only date during the day? Yeah, because he works at night. Okay. And then I won't hear from her for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then she'll call me up crying, he's married. Like,
Oh.
this is like the 80th time we've been through this. Give me a fucking break. um, but that's relationship trauma. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, final thoughts.
Ugh.
We all have trauma. That's my final thought.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
my final
great final
thought.
thought.
Yeah, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, should I keep wearing the hair? I don't lie.
I think it looks great on you. I really
I
do.
Oh
like it.
gosh. So like I have like a lace front or whatever, but I have to use the glue to
Hmm.
hide the lacing or whatever because my skin's so like I'm so white. I'm so Scottish white that
Uh-huh.
you can see it. But when I glue that fucker on, it doesn't come off for like 3 days. And
Yeah.
that one's a real hair one too. But I don't normally do that unless it's like date weekend. If it's date weekend, and I know I'm going to my favorite Italian place where I'm going to drink a shit ton of Tuscan wine, then
Hmm.
I'll do it. But I don't mind wearing this one because. But the other one I have is a lighter brown. Is still a brunette, but it's a lighter brown. That one is called Lindsay. I give all of my hair pieces names.
Lindsay.
Yes, Lindsay. So
Lindsay.
Elaine now, and Lindsay is my other one. So
I love that you named them.
Yeah. I
I
think
yeah.
I've heard somebody else that does that. I don't know if it's
So I
Cher
have
or
a funny
Dolly
story about
Parton or
I have a
something.
funny
I can't
story
remember.
about this. Yeah, I have a funny story about this. There's a I will tell you who started that. Bianca Del Rio. You know who that is?
Hmm. Bianca Del Rio. I don't think so.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of or seen the movie Hurricane Bianca?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, you should watch it. That movie is hysterical.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
like I sort of know her character, but I don't know. I haven't watched that movie.
so, because of my friend Jeremiah, I've met her, and she was the one. Like, she's the one. She's one of the drag queens that does that. Like, all of her hair pieces have names, and so I heard her doing it once at a drag show competition because me and like two other of my friends were helping Jeremiah because Jeremiah's drag name is Elvira Delins or whatever, and so actually that he because he identifying tried to qualify for RuPaul's Drag Race and I actually managed to pull it off in season like 8 or 9. Didn't make the cut, but so while we were doing that or whatever, I got to meet Roy. That's Bianca Del Rio's name, and she was the one that was like, "Yeah, all my wigs have names. If you have wigs, just give them names." Okay, so
Why not?
yeah. Unfortunately, Elaine is not here to hear that I have a hairpiece that has her name attached to it. But
Well, I'm sure she will be later.
she'll find out about it later. I'm sure. Yeah, I'll hear it. Um, so well, great. Yeah, I thank you both for another Trauma Tuesday. Do you guys feel like you can do Trauma Thursday?
I'm not sure um, if I can this week. I'll let you know.
Okay. I really am sort of settled into that. Although I will tell you that my sister said if you ever do your Trauma Tuesdays on YouTube, I can promise you a shit ton of gay people will show up. And I was like, oh, really? She said
So
yes.
why didn't she just tell them to go to Substack?
I tried to ask that question and she said no
Hmm.
because of there are people in the LGBTQ space that don't like Substack, and the reason that they don't is because Substack has all of the MAGA, Nazi, and spammy people,
Yeah.
and so even though it's kind of secularized in that space or whatever, that's why moving my long form content to a newsletter platform isn't such a big deal for me. But I'd still do lives on Substack because the audio, I still want I still want the audience. Um, so that means I'm still going to come in here and write notes and do live sessions just because I want to do that, and so. But I'm more interested in preserving the long form content in another space where, and then too, from her case, my sister basically funded the entirety of that move. And I got features that a normal individual would never get because of it. Because I got enterprise licensing. That's how I can set up 10 publications in one of those instances. Which, by the way, I'll make you laugh. I've gotten in good with the developer community in that space, and I won't tell you that I haven't already written like half of the live module that they're gonna. Yeah, the guy was like, "Oh, do you know how to do video embedding?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I mean, I have to solve that problem from this perspective. And he's like, "Well, what have you done?" And I showed him. He was like, "Holy shit, this is like half of the code I need to make this work." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, there's a GitHub pull. Have fun." He's like, "You would give that over?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. I'm 53 years old. I've written 800,000, 900,000 lines of Python code. I don't give a shit." You know, he's like, "Oh yeah, we should talk or whatever." So there's a whole bunch of feature in that space that will get added because that's what I do. I get cozy with people, and then I just say, "Here, take a bunch of shit and have fun with it."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, because I like to feed the community. I don't really care about the popularity game. I don't think I cared about the popularity game to begin with. That's why I wrote the piece about it today. I was like, I want the community. I don't give a shit about the. I mean, I was unemployed. I wasn't making any money. I needed to support myself, but community is more important than how many views and how many clicks and all that other bullshit that I get.
Yeah.
So that's what the fuck I care about. And people are like, "Well, why aren't you just marketing yourself more or whatever?" I'm like, "Well, it's not what I want." I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird.
It's okay.
Aren't we
Millicent,
all?
Millicent, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Plus, I mean, like, you know, if I disappeared tomorrow or whatever, there's enough infrastructure in place that people would be able to run people will be able to run whatever it is that I develop from a community perspective 100 years from now, long after I'm gone. So yeah, I agree with you, Rachel. The pluses are just building the goddamn. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm stuck in this house all by myself, and so if I'm not talking with you guys or something, then I'm vacillating my anxiety over something else that I shouldn't be thinking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, Brandon, Miranda, thank you both. Always. Everybody else,
Yeah.
back at 7. I might be bald back at 7. Just gonna tell you.
Oh, keep it on.
Uh-huh.
He's right.
Yep.
You look beautiful.
It's still my beating heart. Still my wait. Where the fuck is the fan? Give the fan. Where's the fan? Get the fan. Oh, there we go. All right. I love you both.
Love you. Bye.